attention, human scum, and listen up to the latest episode of Who Corner to Corner podcast. In tonight's episode, Fleet Marshal Paul, that's me, and Field Major Jeff, that's the bouffant fellow in the middle, are joined by an unknown actor of some little renown. We've never even heard of him before, but apparently he's rather good in certain circles. The actor's name is Mr. Dan Starkey.
Good evening. Remain calm.
Good evening, sir.
Fabulous. Right, get out of that now. I was going to say, thank you for joining us, Dan Starkey, and please ignore everything I said in that last one. I'm just doing character. How do you do it? Seriously, how?
Yeah, how do you do?
Sometimes I take cough syrup into the studio, so it's kind of a...
Actually,
really?
do you really do that?
Absolutely. And warm up.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's a good idea, isn't it? Yeah. Dan, thank you for joining us on the podcast tonight. We are absolutely delighted on a quite an extreme scale of 1 to several billion to have you join us. Yet another Doctor Who luminary of some renown and standing on the podcast, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it's great. Yeah, very exciting to have you here. So thanks for taking the time to do it. So, like Paul said, we've got a load of questions.
We
tonight,
literally have three questions. So
Yeah.
it's more than three. I can only.
Sontarans can only count up to 3. It's very useful for them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to open with quite a big question, quite a tough one for you. Okay.
Straight in there.
What's it like being a Sontaran?
It's a delight. It's marvellous to be part of a genocidal clone race intent on destroying the enemies, crushing them beneath their feet, and conjuring the known galaxy and into the universe. But they're great fun. They're good. Just simply, when I was doing Strax, having wonderful lines written by Stephen Moffat and sort of being threatening, getting to do my own stunts, and also making people laugh. It's a wonderful combination of things. So yeah, the only drawback is 3 hours of being glued into it, but that's a small price to pay.
Yes, yeah. So did that side of things get quicker over time? You hear like Dave Bautista when he's playing Drax, for example. It used to take hours for in the first Guardians film, and then they got it down by half on the third one and stuff. But he's still standing there for hours getting suited up. So did they speed your process up?
Certainly they get used to the process, so it does speed up a bit. But ultimately there are some things which it just takes as long as it takes, and inevitably the first thing which happens when you get stuff glued on your face, it's dependent, not just, it's just on the day it can be very different. If it's a hot day, then you'll perspire. If it's a cold day, other things will happen. It's basically, as soon as it's glued onto your face, it wants to slide off it. So then it's the prosthetics team's job to keep on gluing it on. So as you can imagine, if you're called to set at 8 o'clock in the morning, as you would do, so you get in the chair for 5, so it's it all sort of works back, and then you're not used until 10, as it sort of happens, because every day on a TV or film set, it's very practical. It's problem solving. You've got to wait around. You block it at 8 o'clock, but then you're not used until for another 3 hours. It'll have sort of like started to migrate slowly southward. So so it's kind of it's a prolonged process, and then after lunch as well, they've got to do an entire repatch job. So it's kind of a So you don't.
Nice. Yeah.
That image is giving me an idea for a story. Some sort of Sontaran horror where the faces are.
The final bit of
the sliding Sontaran horror face.
Readers of the Lost Sontaran arc. Yes. Yeah.
Good one. That must be kind of weird. Actually, that must take a bit of mental training, I would imagine, because I would feel horribly enclosed and slightly claustrophobic by having a massive potato glued onto my head.
It's not too bad in that with the Sontaran makeup anyway. So like the eyes and the nose and the mouth are all through. Yeah. That's the big difference. Because the only time I did that was on the Sarah Jane Adventures. I was a character called Plark, the light sculptor, and I was kind of actually enclosed inside that. So I was looking through the nostrils of the mask, where there was a big, sort of like a big mechanical eye on my forehead, and that was kind of that was like being inside a diving helmet. And that's the only time I've actually had a chat to myself and go, okay, just have a bit of a breathe and calm down, because it was that slight claustrophobic reaction. But it's the kind of thing that just you prepare yourself mentally for it, and then sort of occasionally you might have a bit of a wobble, but usually it's okay. And you've got a whole team looking after you as well, so it's fine.
Yeah, which is good. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So how do you pass the time when you're getting Sontaraned up in the morning?
It's very early in the morning, so after a certain point, I just don't...
Sleep.
Yeah.
Can you sleep in the chair?
After a certain... It depends what the process is. But so, there was a certain point after which I would have a kit. Thing is, they put the whole sort of cowl over the head, and it's sort of like a good 3 inches of latex either side of your ears, so it muffles you. It's like wearing a pillow on your head. But then I would nod off.
Hey, nice one.
Yeah, I would nod off, and then it would kind of reset my hearing as well. So fall asleep and then awake, and then
clear it all out.
Yeah, and it's just your ears go to a different setting, and then at the end of the day, conversely, when they take it off, all of a sudden, oh gosh, it's something like seeing things in Technicolor again. It's very strange.
Yeah.
Is it like depressurizing when the plane reaches out?
Yeah, absolutely. Like
comes down, that sort of thing.
You do sort of go pop, and it's a very peculiar sensation to try and describe. But it is all quite an altered state.
See, when you think of playing a Doctor Who monster, you don't think, my ears are going to go pop at some point and back and forwards, and you don't think of that sort of stuff. Actually, just on that subject, I mean, did you ever think that you would did you want to be an actor? Did you think that you would end up playing a Doctor Who villain of some legendary status back when you were a kid?
Oh, I love Doctor Who. That was my absolutely favourite program ever.
That's the right answer.
Yes.
Well done,
God,
Dan.
But I think. I didn't expect it really, because I did sort of plays at school, and it kind of crept up on me that I enjoyed, and I was good at it as well, crucially. But it wasn't until a bit later that I actually sort of thought I could actually do it as a job. But yeah, I hadn't guessed. Literally in the same week that I actually applied to drama school in earnest, after I'd sort of had a job in the real world for a little bit, then they announced that the series was coming back. So it was like a bit of a harbinger. I was sort of like, play a card, right? So who knows? But
good luck.
Yes.
Yeah.
But obviously, when I was a kid, I wanted my own TARDIS. Yeah, a practical one that works.
Of course,
Yes.
An actual real TARDIS.
Absolutely.
None of these little toy things. I want an actual time space machine.
I remember being very determined. My dad saying, "We need to build one," and him going, "Well, we could sort of do one and then imagine that it." No, it has to work. So,
no, that's
right.
Unacceptable.
If it can't take me back to the Crusades and onto Skaro, then I'm just not interested, frankly.
Get back to the drawing board. Yeah. So, Dan, how did Doctor Who come your way in the first place, and how did you come to be Strax?
It was just very fortuitous timing, really, because I'd been invited to audition for something. During one summer when I was doing a Shakespeare play in the middle of a forest in Ipswich, and this is before the days of self-tapes. I couldn't get to London to go to that casting. And so these things happen, it's because acting is like buses, and it's like 2 jobs come up at once, whatever. And I was having a chat with my agent, going, "Okay, well that's a shame, but I'm sure things will come along again." And I just happened to say in passing, "Oh, it's my birthday next month. I'd love to be in Doctor Who." It was a kind of like a birthday present because it's my favourite programme, and it just happened to be at the right time when I think they were bringing the Sontarans back, and I think they must have already cast Chris Ryan or made the decision they were going to be quite small and compact. So they were looking for actors within a certain very specific height sort of distinction. And so, then I was invited to audition for Score the Bloodbringer. And I did okay in that audition, really. Felt like I'd done about 20 years' worth of research by the backdrop. So
like everything in your life had been leading up to that point.
Well, I'd certainly done the homework. And so, my then agent said, "It's for an alien in Doctor Who, and it's a character's called Score." So is it a Sontaran? It's an alien. I can't say. It doesn't say. So
I can't say.
I sort of outed myself there as a kind of like. but no.
Did they not know at that point?
No, well, I certainly my agent. So it wasn't explicit in the brief.
Yeah.
But then I turned up and
but
yes, I did a good enough job. And then obviously they had a robe suit that fitted me, so they got me back. And also when they did all the sort of all Doctor Who Confidential and stuff, I knew my stuff talking about Sontarans and Britons. So I think, and also most people who work on the show have got a background with it as well. They were fans when they were kids. Going, okay, yes, we know you, we like you, as that kind of thing. So certainly, as well as having a rubber suit that fitted me, then I went, okay, let's get Dan back. And then of course by the time sort of like A Good Man Goes to War sort of came back, I literally didn't get the script. And it wasn't until I actually got the script through, which was like the day before the read-through, I thought, okay, might just a little line as a cameo, which is great, going down to Cardiff having fun. And then sort of like all of a sudden I read Strax's part and went, oh, okay, this is fun. And
quite a bit.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
Wow! So how was that? So you became a hugely popular character and had a really big and prominent part across those series. How did that feel for you to kind of be surprised by that, and to not have known that was what was going to be happening?
Well, it's lovely how it just sort of chimed with sort of like various things that I can do. It's like that's a funny script, and I know I can land those lines. And also, just in the first episode, he's got a great sort of arc. you've got
Yeah.
so much to play in that episode as well, and also you get this wonderful death scene.
Yeah.
That was delightful. That actually we find out that he's not dead, so that was great. But no,
it's a Stephen Moffat script. Of course, he's not dead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it was that sort of interesting thing. How
Yeah.
I think things were happening sort of quite rapidly behind the scenes as well. So I think I went up thinking that I was just going to be in one episode, and then we started filming the Christmas special, and then we were sort of back for the Eleventh Doctor as well. So it was like, oh, hang on, yeah, this is nice, this is fun. And I remember when the news came, I'd just been doing a sort of like a gig in London, in central London, and I'm being on the top of a double-decker bus, and then suddenly seeing on Twitter that Matt Smith had sort of like announced he was leaving, and I went, oh god, have I still got a job? And then suddenly being invited to, and then started seeing Ben Wheatley is directing the first episode. Oh god, I'd love to work with Ben Wheatley. And then so I go, oh great, and I'm in it now. This is everything is sort of happening so wonderfully. So yeah.
Yeah.
And that was and some Deep Breath was the last Paternoster Gang episode on screen. But that was a nice one to sort of like to go out on. But I remember Neve and I going back, Neve McIntosh, who plays Madame Vastra, going back on the train after having been with them for the first, sort of like first week, first nearly fortnight of filming with Peter's sort of tenure, and thinking, we're part of the gang now, we're part of the team, and then all of a sudden going home back to London and sort of going, no, I quite like to stay a bit longer now. But it was a lovely thing. It was a lovely thing to be part of, and it was kind of just really it was just as with any job like that, sometimes with filming and stuff, that you turn up for a day or sort of turn up for a week, and it's really nice, but it's then you go home again. But that you get the chance to actually sort of build stuff up over the course of months and sort of build a rapport with people, and also when they start to, especially as wonderful a writer as Stephen, they start to know your voice as an actor, and so and also what lines you can land, and they kind of write for that, and that's such a privilege to have as well. So it was great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. How much part of it all you guys became, and
the chemistry as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It comes through on the screen. You just kind of warm to that little group, and you just enjoy being in their company. It's brilliant. It's a real treat.
I was watching The Snowmen recently. We looked at
it's
Christmas
one of Jeff's
episodes.
Favourite
It's one of my favourites. And that bit with the memory worm, and Matt's like, "Can you go and get it?" And you're like, "What?" and the gauntlet thing and stuff. It's so silly, but it's so funny,
scene,
and it's just it's just delivered brilliantly between you both. Yeah, it's great. So, how many Sontarans have you now played?
Oh gosh, loads on screen, and even more on Big Finish, endlessly. So I couldn't say. So we are legion.
All the same, yeah.
He's kind of just cloned out, hasn't he? Just replicated himself across multiple media.
Well, next time you're getting made up and you've got 4 hours in the chair, you can think back through how many you've played, and that'll pass a couple of hours for you. Clock them up.
So you've actually worked with 3 doctors now, haven't you? So no, more than 3, 4 doctors, right?
Yeah,
so
on screen and on Big
Tennant,
Finish even more. So
on screen on Big
Finish.
And obviously Matt, Pete Capaldi, as you said, and Jodie Whittaker as well.
And David Tennant as well.
With David Tennant as well.
Yeah. So we've got a question about them in a moment, but what's that like for you, Dan? Particularly with Big Finish, I guess. But having and being a fan to get to work with childhood idols. Brilliant.
It's great. I mean, the first time I was invited to sort of to work with Big Finish, it was a whole thing of being there with Peter Davison, and obviously it looks a little bit different in sort of like it looked a little bit different in 2011 than he did in 1982. But then put the earphones.
Not to my mind.
Exactly.
He's
Absolutely.
still young and beautiful.
Yes. Flaxen haired. Yes.
Graceful like a gazelle across the savannah.
Yes, it is. He's built in cricketing gear, flapping behind him, gold
with his cricket bat.
Yes. Leather on willow, etc. But honestly, you put the earphones on and closing my eyes, then also I'm in an episode of Doctor Who. It's like I'm 5 years old, and it's amazing.
Oh man, that's fantastic.
It's the kind of thing, and then very rapidly Sylvester, and and all of them. It's kind of it's extraordinary, sort of revisiting that kind of world, because obviously it's audio. The pictures are always better on radio, because it's so elusive. So it's,
well, every time you listen to Big Finish, you're picturing the Doctor as they were, and they, like you said, they haven't aged at all on it. It's great. So can you tell us a fun anecdote about your time with each of the doctors that you've worked with?
Right,
and it must be fun. Understand?
It must be funny.
Well, it could be boring.
We don't want a depressing one. It must be fun. That's an order.
Gosh.
Sorry, mate. He thought of the questions. He thought out and all, mate. I don't
Right, okay. They're all perfectly nice. We sort of... I can't remember. The thing is, I've done quite a few. I've done worked with Big Finish for over 11 years now. No, 12 years. So there's quite a lot of things I've done, and I've just sort of struggled to think. Yeah, so
I suppose you must. It always seems, particularly with Big Finish, quite a family, set up, and like we've talked to Lauren Cornelius on our show before, and she. I think she auditioned for something, didn't she, Paul, and had a small part in something, and then they liked her and called her back for more, and now she's Dodo with the First Doctor. And then there's quite a lot of that happened with Miranda Raisin as well. She did a part and came back, and it feels like if you get in there and they like you, and like you were saying, they kind of learn people's skill sets and abilities and start to develop things for you, and it does. I bet everyone really well there.
There's lots of different sort of things. It's kind of like a rep company, because one thing I had done, I'd been on the BBC radio drama company, the Radio Rep, in 2008 for 9 months. So it's a whole thing, and not long after I left drama school. So I was about 18 months out of drama school. Then I did a good long stint on the Rep, and that was kind of just learning the job. So basically, in the BBC, not quite every day, but so like most days, and you do a whole range of things, not just radio plays, like The Archers or whatever, but also you're doing readings, on factual programmes. Also, once or twice I was on the Today programme, when they released cabinet papers about the Suez Crisis. I played Anthony Eden, and things like that. So all these absolutely random things, but you kind of, there's no substitute, for being able to learn on the job. And also one of my other particular skills is doing multi-voice things, so being able to change my voice and sort of like not just impersonating, but sort of different accents and stuff. So it's very useful to have that as part of a radio sort of company. And also with Big Finish, I think again it's knowing the material, being very aware of Doctor Who, and also different styles of it as well, because obviously a season 24 sort of Sylvester McCoy story is going to be very different from a Tom Baker one from season 14 or whatever. So it's got and they evoke those different things. So it's kind of
they do.
Yes, no, but the first couple, I played my cards slightly close to my chest in terms of I went in there and just a good job as a proper actor. And then we went to the pub, so I took up ones, and then I started let fly about monoids or something. I'm like, oh, okay. You speak our language too.
He knows about monoids.
Yes. You're one of us.
Yes.
You come into the secret room now if you're talking about monoids. Don't worry about those people over there. Come over here now.
Yes. It's a password.
Oh dear, there's not many people know what monoids are outside of Doctor Who circles. You mentioned something like that. Everyone knows a Cyberman or a Dalek, but a monoid.
Yeah, monoid. Yes,
that's something else.
No,
Taran, we're talking
Taran
Woodpiece level now, aren't we? That's the thing. So let's have let's go to Twitter then. So this is a random one actually here.
Sorry, Paul. I'm just going to interject there.
Every time.
Okay.
If it's the question from. If it's the question from Andrew, I just want to say, Dan, this is in relation to a scene I couldn't stop laughing at.
Oh, Jeff loves this.
When it went out.
He absolutely loves it, don't you?
One of my absolute favourite moments. But I'll let you carry on, Paul, sorry.
Can I ask a question now? Can I do it? Yeah, you sure?
Yeah.
Cheers, mate. That's great. Right, so Andrew Heesh on Twitter asks, if you, Dan, actually ate any... I'm going to rephrase that. Might have to edit this. Andrew Heesh on Twitter asks... Did you actually eat any chocolate filming the brilliant scene in the corner shop?
Yes, solo chocolate. It's actually incredibly difficult to eat in that mask. So
I imagine it is.
And also sometimes as well, I had, because this iteration sometimes they had prosthetic teeth in. And things about big teeth like that, you can't eat it because otherwise you'd break
not your own teeth even.
So there was a bit of, but sort of like, honestly, it was just trying to keep the thing stuck on your face for one thing. So there was a little bit of judicious kind of like miming around it, working around it. So
just accidentally some might have slipped in.
Yeah, maybe so. Just at the end of the take, but otherwise it was just
possibly.
Just one more take.
Yeah. Yes.
You do know Jeff was quoting that for. Well, he still does actually quote it on the podcast. I still do. He can't resist.
It's an inferior, tribute, but. I love that. You send the others out, and then there's that really quick montage of all the sweets and stuff like that.
Yes, it was nice. So funny. It was nice the way they filmed that as well. Because they're almost like chucking the wrappers up in the air and sort of going, "Can you catch that?" And then sort of, just give them something, give the camera something to sort of like to track on as it sort of goes down, and then
Yeah.
It is literally the kid in the sweet shop, isn't it? That's what we're talking about. It's literally that. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I mean, that was the side of Sontarans that we never suspected. Yeah, and it kind of makes sense. They need energy.
Yes.
And those things are high on disposable energy.
Absolutely.
So it's perfect sense. Yeah. No, I love that at all. I mean, actually, just on that, was there? I mean, we got two very different costumes now, because you got the blue costumes from the slightly older. Yeah. Then you got these kind of. We spoke to Ray Holman. What did he call them, Jeff? Yeah. Dirty Sontarans, grim and dirty, or something like that, wasn't it?
Dirty stinking Sontarans or something.
Distressed.
More kind of brutish, almost. Was there any big difference from your perspective wearing the two different? You mentioned the teeth, obviously, but was there anything?
Yeah, it's a completely different prosthetic. So the previous one, the one in the blue outfit, that's a simple two-piece prosthetic. So it's like a cowl. It's like a balaclava helmet with your face poking out, and then a much thinner piece of silicone that sort of goes over the face. So it's all one piece. Whereas the new makeup is about four different sort of pieces that have to be glued into different parts. So there's a back bit, a neck bit, it's like a face bit, and then it's like a chin bit. So as you can imagine, that takes a lot more kind of like gluing on. And then of course the costume, it was because Ray had the fabric printed for that. So it was like that pleated sort of thing, a bit more like the original Time Warrior design. It's fantastic. But no matter which way you do it, you've still got that massive collar on there, which is just... which is just, it's a thing to try.
Can't get round that.
Yeah, no, just try and negotiate wearing that. It's kind of, the way the thing is standing up in it. Because I went over to when it was being designed, and I was able just to sort of move around it, going, okay, you might think about shoulders bunch up a bit. Yeah. Because I knew if they want to do the shot where they sort of take the helmet off the head. Then if it's built up to a certain extent, then you can't really do that with sort of like, you just can't lift your hands above your shoulders about a certain level because it's so built up. So I put something like that. But even then, it's I think I didn't anticipate sitting down in it. So there's the interrogation sort of bit where sort of like there's the bit in the field hospital in the Crimea. And it's just sitting down, and the sort of collar sort of goes up, and then you try. Basically, it's like someone punching you in the chin in slow motion. And then trying to get your words out.
Oh my goodness!
So it's like the thing is, because also I hadn't done anything in prosthetics for about 7 years, but I hadn't done it for a little bit. And I always remember what the process is, because in the hotel room the night before, I plan everything. I know the words back to front because I know I'm going to be knackered, and so it's going to be very challenging as an environment. But basically, plan everything I want to do, and of course, you've got to be prepared to throw those out the window, because the director might have a completely different idea. That's great, but just knowing that what you've got to contend with. If I get about 60-65% out of what I've prepared about what I want to do, then that's okay. But it's just you never anticipate quite what's going to be thrown at you in the daytime, because there's so many different things. So it's because it just gets even. We were filming on all that stuff in the Crimea. It looks fantastic, but it's like it was sort of driving sleety rain on a Welsh mountainside with inches of mud, that sort of thing. Going it's quite warm, but just trying not to. There was one bit where I came out and we were being driven around these kind of golf buggies. And 4x4, so quad bikes. And I got out, and I was wearing these riding boots, which are fantastic, really nice sort of quality, but quite sort of quite new, and so quite slippy soles. And I got off the buggy into this kind of mudslide, and then I nearly did the splits, but I managed to stay vertical because this is a brand new costume. The first thing I can't do with all of this new costume, I can't just go splat into the mud. So they were quite impressed by that. I kind of literally slithered around, from action Sontaran, but it's every day is a challenge. So
yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. How many days filming were you there for, Dan?
Oh gosh, I can't remember now. It was a couple of weeks, but I think
a few days,
I drew the longest straw, because that time Johnny Watson he got more of the 4 a.m. starts. I think I came out of it okay. Also, because it's amazing they managed to get anything done at all, because they were trying to do it through COVID as well. So they had a very specific thing about having different units in different cohorts. So if one person went down in one unit, then that didn't knock out everybody else because they were bubbled with them. So that was the kind of thing where...
Gosh, can you imagine that?
It was astonishing, and just as a logistical feat for them to get anything done at all, let alone looking as good as it did, then that was incredible.
Absolutely.
So,
We've said that before on the podcast. We both loved Flux, and the fact that we got anything at all was
extraordinary.
a miracle, and that it was as good as it was. Yeah, with the difficulties that were faced. We've spoken to other people who were in the series, and we knew there was going to be 8 episodes, and it went down to 6, and then all sorts of things happened, and I think it's incredible. And
this whole thing of having multiple storylines with characters, the lead characters being separated as well. You can sort of see the logic, but not just narratively, but also from production wise. Yeah, let's make sure that we don't wipe out a month's filming. We all go together when we go.
We can lose that bit of the storyline. Let's do move over to Plan B kind of thing, or Plan D, exactly. F and what have you. Yeah, that's pretty good actually. I love that actually. Yeah, I was going to ask something now. I've blooming forgotten what it was now, but it was a really enlightening question that would have taxed you and then some. So I'm going to hand back to Jeff while I rack my brains to think of it. So it was a good one.
I'm going to ask you. Where do all the different Sontaran names come from? Is there like a Sontaran name generator website?
I think it defaults to an aggressive monosyllable, really, is the ideal one. Stire, spike, score, yeah, it's kind of got all them. It could be spat out across a parade ground. And it's kind of like...
Although actually... When you think about it, Lynx is probably the original Sontaran that we know. Is probably the odd one out in all of that, isn't it? Because it's not quite. It's not such a brutal name. It's a bit more melodic and more spelt.
Yes. Lynx by Sontar.
Lynx. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Makes me think of a or a cat perhaps. A large cat.
There you go. That's it. Exactly that. Yeah.
So, one of our Twitter followers, Gilster, asked, "How does it feel to have appeared in the main show and Torchwood and Sarah Jane Adventures as well?"
I wasn't in
the
Torchwood.
whole gamut.
I've never been in Torchwood.
Oh, were you not?
No, actually, I tell a lie. I've been in one on Big Finish. I've been in an audio Torchwood.
That's what you meant.
Okay. Oh yeah. Well, it's great. Yeah. The whole Hooniverse. Yes. So
Brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm very pleased.
Well, it's a job, isn't it?
Yeah. And then Torchwood. It's quite nice because when I was little, I lived in Cardiff, so it's always nice actually doing something set there. So it's kind of like it was so nice going back and that sort of thing. So it was yes.
What was it like working on the Sarah Jane Adventures with Liz Sladen?
Oh, it was fab. Yeah, it was great. It was weird that it turned out to be the very last episode as well because no one had any idea. Really.
Yeah,
was it?
But it was just. I mean, that as I said, it was the most challenging prosthetic that I've worn, and so it was kind of quite a because they worked out. The production team worked out every single eventuality that if it rains in Cardiff, they knew what to do because that happens quite often.
That's quite common.
Highly likely going to happen.
Yeah. What was more unusual was if it's July and there's a heat wave, then what do you do? So and I was in quite this heavy prosthetic, sort of. Not being able to see out, and also like a Jawa wearing quite heavy Hessian and that sort of thing. So the first day I was really kind of having a bit of a heat stroke thing, but then they absolutely took that on board, gave me a sun lounger to lie completely horizontal. The only way I could be comfortable was to be completely horizontal.
Oh, fantastic!
And then they had a guy walking around with an umbrella over me for the whole thing to make sure I didn't get didn't overheat and stuff. So they took it's, as I say. Everything on set is practical problem solving, and they sort of get that. But it was a really fun episode. It's a nice little story.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then, so that was the last episode of that. We spoke to Phil Ford a little while ago as well, didn't we? And then Wizards versus Aliens sort of came out of it, didn't it? To be able to keep people working, as obviously the sort of planned for season was sadly cut short. So, what was Wizards versus Aliens like for you? Was
that was great? Yes, no, I was in that for a good 3 years, and that was a nice as ever. It's nice to have a little recurring job where you can actually build something. It's lovely to be a guest star and going and doing things, but that, especially then, when they start to invest more in the character and you sort of start to, but by the end of it, I had some very interesting sort of plot lines for my character sort of going through it. Randall Moon, the Hobgoblin. And of course, the inevitable story where he transforms himself into a human who looks a bit like me, so I don't have to wear.
It's strange, that isn't it?
It's lucky that.
But you know what? I mean, I was looking at. I can't recognise you at all in that. It's a full-on. The nose and the ears and the eyes. You think that's not, because generally you can see something, even if it's only vestigial, of the face behind it. But you can't in that. You think, is that really Dan Starkey?
It's really interesting because
a day over 25.
Hey.
Yeah.
No, it's good though because they sculpt. First of all, they do it like with Orbital. They do the life cast of my head, and then there are certain aspects of there's things like, little things about my eyebrows, like my ears are a little bit uneven. And then you see his ears, and they sort of they bend in a certain way. Oh, okay, I'll see what you've done there. You've actually taken and so or the eyebrows or little things. But I remember the first time having the makeup test for that was amazing because it was just first of all having it glued on, and it's like this different face in the mirror in front of you. But then it was completely sort of just a neutral kind of pink colour, just so Caucasian, sort of neutral flesh. Yeah. And then gradually they painted it up, so it blossoms into life like real flesh, and it's like with all the spot, and it's just this amazing thing that all of a sudden it's quite uncanny. It's like going, oh, hello, this is a kind of and then mottled skin comes to life, and it's like, it was great. And then it's like,
incredible artistry, isn't it?
And also trying to fill costume on, and then it's like the first time it's like, okay, Dan, we're going to take you into the office, just with the prosthetics team, and then we're going to take you into the office, so do you want to turn it on? So then all of a sudden I sort of went to the office and climbed on a table and went, and sort of thing, just to give everyone a bit of an idea about what it was like, and it was,
oh, brilliant!
It's nice coming to life like that, sort of thing, and also
that's hilarious.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Also, because lots of it
I was going to say it's almost like the. Go on, Dan. Sorry.
It's fine. With my performance as well, there were lots of the movement and stuff. That there's things which you can accentuate. Oh, the nose is pointing, the ears pointing, so I can use those to move around with. And I think with the guys who played the aliens and the Necros, they were very. Their costumes were quite rigid, like suits of armour. They stood very strongly. And also they had, a remote control unit with their sort of tentacles going around as well. So I think there's possibly sort of like, they had to sort of build their performances around that. Whereas I think mine was, unlike the Sontarans' outfits, mine was clothes made of cloth. There's a clue in the name. They're much easier to wear, so I could move a bit more freely and so on. So it was and it's nice. Obviously, I love being the Sontarans, but this was something I could create from the bottom up. So it was really nice.
Because there's no precedent for it, is there? It's entirely yours.
And you get to, you want to stretch yourself, don't you, as an actor, and push yourself and try new things as well. So, do you get to walk down the street and do you get recognised? Because it must be quite nice in a way because you've played some really well-known parts, but not as you.
Oh,
a lot of the time.
If people do recognise me, they tend to be.
Could you walk the?
Yeah, they do tend to be very, very dedicated fans. So,
yes.
Yeah. I was going to say we're going to. I thought you were going to ask Jeff. Was Dan ever walking down the street dressed as a Sontaran or the Goblin or something like that? That would be a lot of fun.
Well, we talked to Sam Sproul. Do you remember? Yeah. And they said when they were filming as
Swarm.
His name is Swarm. Yeah, he's so great. But his name just popped out in my head. But he said one day they went out and they pulled up at the drive-through McDonald's and wound the window down, and the server was like staring at Azure and Swarm, and they were like 2 Big Macs, So did you ever go out in normal, into normal world in your costume?
I think the only time was when we did Wizards, when Randall Moon went out. There's a shopping area called the Hayes in Cardiff, right in the middle, where there's a quite famous sandwich bar, and walking up and down there, and sort of like, getting the odd look, because either people are aggressively undrinking and said, "I'm far too important to notice that," or they just rub it like crazy and they're very excited. And there was a whole
fantastic.
And there was a whole gaggle of, shall we say, rather pixelated. Sort of like, first of all, a lot of lads who straight off the train, so like, I was like, I'm going to hit him. I'm going to punch him. Sort of thing, wants to fight, which was nice. But then our security guy went, no, you're not. Go, be on your way. And
not going to happen.
And then a bunch of similarly sort of like, shall we say, relaxed. So like girls came and went, I love him. Give me a snog. So again, they were sort of like politely ushered away.
Two ends.
So and there was a group of like youngish teenagers who for about 10 minutes were just looking at me, so like squinting, and saying to the assistant director, like, is he real or is he fake? Is he real?
I was going to say, was they sitting there going, am I mad? Are you seeing that as well?
And then the director's like, he was born like that. And then they saw, the makeup lady put a paintbrush on my nose and went, he's fake, isn't he? Oh, I can't believe that, he's fake. And then and they wandered off in disgust.
It's like even the possibility that's real. You know what I mean? It's just like, but they question it. I don't know.
Yeah, because
it's kind of like the idea of sort of. Yeah,
it does look fantastic.
It does look good, doesn't it?
Just good prosthetics are amazing to see as well. I mean, they're geared towards being on camera, so they do stand up the test. So certainly at a
but they can work.
au naturel. Kind of reminds me, the idea of a Doctor Who or sort of creature walking down a high street is like you must have seen it. That picture from the 70s of a Cyberman having a fag through his slit. Just trying.
Oh god, yeah.
It kind of brings you back to the reality of it, doesn't it? There's this elaborately constructed fantasy and sci-fi with all the cinematography and everything that goes into it. At the end of the day, with people in suits, is he real or is he not fake? Which is brilliant because it all sells the magic, doesn't it? And you guys are part of that, actually, helping it come through for just so we can consume it and enjoy it.
Yeah. So let's go back in time a little bit. Wibbly wobbly, Wayne's World. Yes. So
if we had any money, we would actually put an effect on that, but we're completely voluntary, low amateur, low budget, nothing budget really. So
I might find something in the edit.
Good man.
So how did you discover your love of acting? What was the thing that kind of put you on that?
I was just did plays at school really. So the first one I ever did was, so I was reminded of it by someone the other day. In Wales, it used to be the case that on St David's Day, you did a little play and you got half a day off school. So that was great. So they had this little St David's Day play. So the first year that we did it, we sang songs to the miners, because during the miners' strike, very happy time. And then the following year, we did this kind of like, it was, I think there were other things, but the bit that I was in was like a Welshified version of Heidi High. So I played. So it was like Heidi High, but everyone was given Welsh names. So it was like Peggy was called Blogwen, and I was called something like I was Ted Bovis, so Paul Shane, and I think my name was like Gittor or something like that. So
Gittor.
and they were putting on a talent contest, and they were going to get Shakin' Stevens and Bonnie Tyler back, because obviously two Cardiff luminaries. So and also two children who could do cartwheels played said pop stars, because as you know, both Shakin' Stevens and Bonnie Tyler are famous for doing cartwheels a lot. So
for their cartwheels,
so yes,
absolutely.
And then we did that
all over their videos.
Everyone clapped, and then I got half day off school, because that was great. And then after that, we did plays at sort of like my other primary school Christmas shows, and then sort of like, and then at secondary school I started doing sort of proper school plays where we sort of did a bit of Shakespeare and sort of like other things.
Actually, it's Shakespeare.
Yeah, and it just sort of crept up on me that I liked it and I was good at it. And I suppose I took it more seriously than other people did, because they didn't. Certainly in my secondary school, we didn't have drama as a timetabled subject, so it wasn't academic enough. But so it was a good thing to do. And then it sort of I did a bit more at university, and then I sort of thought the drama scene was a little bit cliquey where I was. So I think back, but then I was like, I got the bug by then. I couldn't quite sort of let it go.
Yeah.
So even when I moved to London and I was like doing temp jobs and that sort of thing, I was still doing stuff in the evenings, so like on little fringe venues and that sort of thing. And it got to a certain point where one of my friends who had made an application to film school, he chivied me, so like to put an application into drama school, and then I actually put it in past the deadline to Bristol, and then I got in. And I was suddenly quite surprised. Oh, hello! I've got to move to Bristol. Oh, right. So that was the kind of thing that was, So I wouldn't say It's not one of those disingenuous things where I just fell into it. I always wanted to do it, but it did take a lot of prodding me to sort of. And but I think anyone who does it as a job, it's like, can I really do this? I think it's quite a weird job. That sort of like it. It sort of it forces you. You've got to really want to do it, because otherwise there are many other things.
It's got to be quite competitive, isn't it?
Yeah. All the time. Yeah, it's part and parcel of the job. You've got to find ways to sort of keep yourself happy doing it, and keep yourself motivated. And also and also the times we live in. Also find a way to actually sort of to keep working in a way that you can sustain yourself as well. So it's kind of and that inevitably there's always a mix of different type of work that you do, and sort of like how you cut it with different things as well, and sort of
Yeah. Because you do quite a fair bit of voiceover as well, don't you?
Yes, I do. Things? Yeah, that's another sort of bread and butter thing, which I'm very glad. Which again, you gradually build it, but sort of like until it becomes sustainable. But it's kind of So it's another thing. Because I was always good at radio and like multi-voice stuff as well. But there's not. Just now there are, unlike even 20 years ago, there are so many more people who can do it. There's you can put a casting brief out for any particular voice that you like, and you'll get something meeting that specific brief. And it's
crazy,
it's great because people who wouldn't have had a chance before sort of get access. But equally, if you want to try and make a living at it, then it makes it more challenging. But yeah.
Brilliant. But it's nice to have all these different sort of what's the phrase? Fires in the iron, I think.
Irons in the fire.
Like that,
yes.
Strings irons in the fire.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. It's getting a bit late for me. I'm not as young as I used to be, Dan. That's for sure. You know what I mean?
My lumbago's playing up.
Not a day goes by, mate. Not a day. The old wound in the leg, mate. I tell you, it's giving me right old jip these days. It ain't good. Yeah. Oh, blimey! Don't even talk about it, mate. Don't even. I don't like that. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, enough of that nonsense. Right. So, what's this question here, Jeff? What did you do before TV? Does that mean before TV was invented? He's not that old.
I knew you were going to say
Well,
that.
we used to listen to the wireless on a Friday evening. We did. We all used to gather around, and there'd be old Nan on the sofa. She'd be taking it up with a drinks cabinet, and old Uncle Bill, he'd be down the coal mine. He'd be coming home, his face is black as coal, and all of that. And he would all have a beer, and we listened to Bing Crosby. Is that the kind of thing that you were getting at there?
Well, that was exactly.
Exactly. Honestly, I must apologize. I mean, to be fair, actually, Jeff did text me and say, "Do you have any questions for Dan?" And I said, "I do, but I've got no idea when I'm going to be able to put them actually down." So he goes, "Well, I'll do it then, you lazy git," he says. So there you go. So kudos to Jeff. You've done a good job here, mate. But I've no idea what that one means.
What that meant was, what were you doing for work before you got your first TV break?
First TV role? I worked in theatre, darling. There is a whole other scientific thing.
Theatre?
Yes, that does exist. No, I also said I did lots of radio drama as well. But anyone, think at least historically as well in this country, actors, because it's a smaller industry and that sort of thing, everyone does a whole range of things. It's not like in America where you can sustain an entire career just doing TV or doing screen. Now it's slightly more different, a bit more demarcated. And also people, as an industry, people like to put you in boxes. So, right, you do musical theatre, so you can't do anything else. And that's just inevitable. And equally, it's also a thing that's like work begets work. So you get known for doing one thing, then sort of like it's sort of. Then
people talk, I suppose, don't they? They mention your name in things. Oh, you're looking for someone who does that. Well, I've got just the chap and all that kind of stuff.
But it's a mixture of things. Also, one thing which I did before I went to drama school, another thing which got me into drama school as well, is that I did a year's worth of evening classes in improv, which really opened things up to me. Because I was always good at acting, but actually in terms of unlocking stuff and actually sort of freeing yourself up. So sort of doing improvisation on stage. That's another thing which haven't done so much of it sort of like recently, but sort of like that's always been quite an important sort of like skill to have, and it's applicable not just in terms of comedy.
It kind of keeps your mind active, doesn't it? Keeps you thinking, keeps everything at the front of your brain.
And crucially, when you can get sort of tied up in the technicalities of it, and also if it's the business of show business, which can get on top of you a bit, just the thing where it's going out, there's no script, you go and play, and it's freeing. But that's a thing which keeps you fresh and keeps you going as well, and the ability to surprise yourself. And so it's
It goes back to what you said earlier about, you learn your lines for filming, but you like to kind of leave room for...
Oh, you have to,
ad-lib and, because like you said, you never know what the director
will throw at you. That is one thing, actually, which people have assumed with Strax. That's like, I haven't improvised, none of those lines that you see with Strax on screen, all of those are scripted.
Really?
Yeah.
See, just one or two of them do sound as though they're just kind of off the cuff.
No, that's called acting.
That's called
what
acting.
The job is making scripted words sound as if they're
skill.
Spontaneous.
Right,
sounding real.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Honestly, but it is that thing of But obviously, as I said before, the fact that Stephen knew my voice by then I can come out in certain ways. But the only thing which I did do was. It was because it was released on YouTube, about 10 years ago, was Christmas carols. One morning we were really up against it in terms of the schedule, and so lots of delays happening with filming due to technical reasons, as often happens. And I started making up Christmas carols in character as Strax. And then Matt heard me. I went, "Oh, that's really funny. I'll get Saul, our director, to film it." And then sort of like Saul went, "Oh, that sounds good, yeah." And so I said, "Don't tell the guy running the schedule." And then after one scene, he's like, "Well, get in front of that," and then he ran the camera, And I thought, oh God. Meanwhile, the first AD is pulling his hair and going, we don't have time for this, we're on a meter. And it's like, oh God, so I'm really good. So then I sort of did one of my sort of Christmas carols, sort of when the red robin comes bobbing along, I use a twittering avian for target practice. And then everyone laughed, and I did another couple of them, and then sort of, luckily everyone laughed, so it was fine. And then they took them upstairs, and then they used them on the Doctor Who YouTube channel as a kind of little sort of seasonal thing.
Yeah, I think I remember
them. Sontaran carols. But that's me. That's my improvising in character as Strax, and that's one of the sort of few times that it sort of came out. But yeah, it's a whole thing. That's a compliment to me doing my job properly. If you think it's made up.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Do you feel a kind of a closeness to the character of Strax now because you played him quite a few times?
I know him, and I know he's got a very obvious shtick, and that's good fun to play. So it's kind of But it's
So how did the Big Finish audios for the Paternoster gang come up? Were you? I guess you were doing stuff with them already when that.
Yeah. It was a little. I've been working with them for quite a few years, and then I think they've been wanting to get the license for the characters for ages. And it was only when Stephen left that. So I went to the BBC. Okay, we can do this now because I think there was still we could do something with these characters as a kind of thing.
Yeah, something might happen with them on TV or something, isn't it?
But then as soon as that's gone, then so like all of a sudden Big Finish. So I go great because we wanted to do that for ages. We know this will work as a spin-off, and then it was lovely actually. It was Neve who suggested it. That sort of that we have a little a little sort of production meeting, sort of like about it. So Neve and I think Catherine was away doing a play, but then sort of our script editor Matt Fitton and the producer David Richardson went to Big Finish Towers, and then sort of like we within about an hour or so, we sort of came up with a story arc, a seat for an entire season.
Brilliant.
Going, hey, here's all the things that we've been thinking about because
brilliant,
and it's the whole thing. That's really nice as an actor having that kind of input with it, and so and obviously I've written a couple of them as well, and so it's kind of
Yes, I know, and I love that you guys who played the parts are obviously so into it and so passionate about it that you've been thinking about what could happen and ideas and and because I was going to say, did you go round at Big Finish saying, I've got a really good idea for Paternoster
audios, I think because people would ask us things at conventions about what would you like to see, and also when we're on set, especially Neve and I, the thing that we bonded sort of as much is because when you're in prosthetics, it's a very long day. And when you can get on with someone at 4:45 in the back of a taxi, and then still get on with them at 7 o'clock at night when you're peeling bits off your face, sort of like a thing, then
it's probably a sign of a good friendship, isn't it?
But then it's like,
sliding Sontaran
and Neve loves sci-fi and that sort of thing, and genre stuff as well. So it's kind of like there's a feel for the material. So we both go, and if you've got any kind of imagination, you go, okay, if that's true, then something else is true. And it's like you start to build little worlds and stuff. So it's kind of, But also
the camaraderie, isn't it?
Oh god, yeah, and also on Big Finish, the virtue of audio as well is that sort of like you're not worried about budget restraints, and you can also we don't have to be glued into our suits for 3-4 hours.
Yeah, you can be a Sontaran. You can be a Sontaran in your sweatpants.
And it's
now there's a look
quite diverting. But the reason why I think
alluring.
Even if there had been sort of the mooted thing for a Paternoster gang sort of like TV spin-off, just in terms of a producer's point of view about the money, then it's kind of like not only has it got prosthetics,
you've got it's got
CGI special effects, and it's an historical setting. That's all of a sudden you're making going. That's not going to be cheap. At least Torchwood, they set that in modern day Cardiff, so that's one side of things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yeah, so it's kind of
Yeah, and the thing is now is that the expectation with a lot of the special effects now it's just massive. I mean, even when you look at because you're talking about Deep Breath when we started this, and you look at some of those early Capaldi stories, which don't to me seem like they were that long ago, but actually they are quite a while ago now.
Quite a while now.
And you compare them to what you guys were doing in Flux, and this, the whole cinematography, everything just looks that much deeper and richer. No doubt, 10 years from now, that'll look really old.
Of course, it will inevitably, sort of like Ultra HD and it's like 4K or whatever. It's how it's being made, how it'll be disseminated. It's the
so you mentioned conventions just now. Is that something that you get up to quite a lot, and how do you find them?
Oh yeah, no, that's
do you enjoy them?
Yes, quite, yes. No, but
I see my questions have been taken
with conventions, and it's amazing. Just it's the whole thing of. Because I think I went to America. So again, it was about 10 years ago. It was in 2013 with Matt's second series, Matt's second season, which really broke America. I think suddenly it became a big property there. It was sold and sold. So I think that there's a Doctor Who convention in LA called Gallifrey 1. And I think it had been, so like a well-attended, but minority interest, so Doctor Who in the States. So they'd had us like a constant number of numbers, set of numbers for about 20 years or so, about 700 people. Then all of a sudden it went massive. And so the first one I did, they had to cap it at about 1,500 of guests or whatever. So it was just kind of, it's just absolutely full. But
it's big, isn't it?
And
they get fantastic. Jodie was there this year, and Chris Chibnall, and I think Lauren Cornelius went out, and various other big Finnish people.
It's amazing just going in there. And you sort of also because I remember the first one because Neve and I were there, and obviously when we went in our prosthetics, the first night. We was walking around and it's a whole thing of no one quite knows who we are, but they would sort of squint and go, a little man and a tall Scottish woman, who could they be? And then they announced us on the stage on the opening ceremony. Went, it's you! So it's kind of
that's what it is.
Yeah. So it's quite fun, but and in 2014, with Peter's first episode with Deep Breath. I went to New York to do they trialled the kind of like an after show on sort of BBC America called After Who.
Oh, okay.
And that was a whole kind of thing of being somewhat jet lagged, and that was Mark Gatiss was doing it as well. And then that whole thing of like being in a studio with stuff like very with American TV, it's quite rigid in terms of there's an advertising break now, and so the audience goes whoa, and all of a sudden you suddenly got to be awake and it's like just really sparky and witty and that sort of thing, and go back, and then it's like it goes down. Okay, now ad break.
It's like just being fired at you like constantly.
Yes, no, it was extraordinary. But then you're quite aware that this is a big property now. This is a kind of it's a big series. It was amazing to be part of that.
You're right. It was. It was the Matt Smith years, wasn't it? Really,
yes,
it was. Yeah,
it was the Day of the Moon. I think was one that was on the front of Entertainment Weekly and stuff. It was kind of the big TV Bible in the States. So
That's right.
I mean, it was great because John Nathan Turner tried to crack America with Doctor Who in the 80s, didn't he?
Yeah.
And we're all kind of wishing him on, and that's where we get sort of Perry Gillian Brown, Nicola Bryant Nicola Bryant from PUNY faking an American accent, but doing a great job of it, to be honest. And then it sort of it succeeded a little bit. It's like little moves inwards, but then I remember because they had a bus, didn't they? That Matt and the guys used to go around on. Was it a massive tour bus?
Okay.
Well, they did that around the UK.
Did they do America with that? I thought they did.
Because it went to. I remember them being on the shores of Loch
I
Ness.
wasn't invited on the bus anyway, so who cares? Frankly, me and my little pal scored.
Hey, there we go. He's splendid.
He's not happy either. Actually, he wasn't allowed on the bus. They didn't allow me on the bus. Yeah, scum. That's an egg cup. I've had to blue tack his head in because it's very very loose. It tends to fall off. It's rather like the Two Doctors kind of collar, if you know the sort of loose thing that they had.
Summer collar. Yeah.
That's the summer collar. Yeah, the one specifically for Spain. Yes, indeed. So shall we go to another social media generated question, Jeff? What do you reckon?
Yes. Yeah, there's a couple of Facebook ones, aren't there?
Oh yeah, because we got Facebook group now. It's amazing. We do all the socials, Facebook, Twitter, all of that. It's incredible. So what we got? We got Catherine Sarah Cullum Hanshaw on Facebook, who asks, this is a good one, I think. Which classic Doctor would you most like to have acted alongside on TV? On TV. And why? Why, Dan?
Gosh.
Why?
Oh God, there's so much to choose from. That's tricky.
Yeah. And whichever one you're not going to choose, they're going to hear this podcast and say, well, why didn't you pick me?
Yes.
Hey, dear boy, I raised you up from the gutter.
Yeah. It'd be nice to be in this.
We'll beep out the name.
It would be
but then that's not answering the question then, is it? So.
It leaves mystery then.
All of them. But
well, let's put it this way.
A nice gothic Tom Baker season 14 and kind of like something. Yeah. That would be good. Something with something Hammer horror, or a nice dark Dr. Sylvester McCoy, sort of like season 25 or 26.
Yeah,
because that was I was watching that, and that was kind of like just the end of it when I was. But equally, when I first started watching, it was Peter Davison, so it was kind of like he was my first. I remember the very very end of Tom Baker, so all those options.
You could have sneaked into Horror of Fang Rock or something like that, couldn't you? That would be quite good. I mean, that had a Rutan in it. It's the only time we've seen a Rutan in Doctor Who. So. Yes.
Which classic Doctor do you think Strax would get on best with, or which one do you think he would annoy the most?
Oh gosh. Oh, the Sixth Doctor is quite bombastic. And so I think Strax and he would sort of like definitely butt heads over things.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
That would be quite funny, wouldn't it?
Yes.
That would be good.
Yeah, let's get that pitching. Yeah. To be finished.
Oh gosh, and if it was like a
John
season
Cole.
22 story, it would have a massive body count as well, and Strax would be revelling in it.
Oh, he would, definitely.
Yeah.
With just total gratuitous
Yes.
gore, even.
Yeah. It goes at 5:30 on a Saturday night, but still,
Exactly.
Yeah, no one gets.
No one's getting
Actually, there is that bit in the Two Doctors, isn't there? When you got when the Sontarans have been blown up in the last episode, and I think it's
Severed
Shockeye
leg.
comes in. He's holding Commander Stack's leg, which is dripping green goo and blood off it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
I remember watching that when I was 8, going, "Oh, this is good, isn't it?" Yeah.
I like that.
Oh dear, classic. Oh, I love it. I really do. Sorry, Jeff, we interrupted you, or I did at least. Anyway, my apologies.
There's a question from John Cole on Facebook. So, what other Doctor Who creature or creature from another show would you like to play?
Oh gosh, something where I didn't have to be in prosthetics for 3 hours. Really, I think the novelty slightly. I don't know. I've never done a motion capture type thing like Gollum or whatever. That would be quite interesting. Where you've got basically you've got the freedom of movement, because I think with all these things it's difficult to know what it's like until you're actually in it, because that'll predicate kind of But it's something where you've got more of your own performance coming through. As I said, with the recent Sontarans, again, the mask is so much more rigid. Just trying to get anything through that is quite tricky.
Yeah.
So, and also, if you think about the classic monsters, in the 1970s, when the mask is just solid latex, it is a vocal performance as much as anything else. So like as much as a physical one, because
very
it
little
can't
facial
really
movement.
it can't really move. But something, because you've got all the mocap stuff, which is so sensitive as to sort of like the nuances of what you're doing.
Yes, it picks up all the little nuances.
Yes, But equally,
Or you could do, I was going to say, you could do like the Michael Wisher thing of putting a paper bag on during rehearsal over your head. And just going with that, and just smoke loads of fags inside it, as he did apparently, didn't he? It's a story where they took the bag off and all these clouds of smoke just came out.
It was a different time.
The 70s, eh? Yeah. Health and safety was somebody else's problem. Oh dear. But actually, do you know what? When you on a I don't know, slightly more serious side, but when you were talking a moment ago about being looked after with umbrellas and lots of fluids and stuff like that, and people looking out for your well-being, your welfare, and then you listen listen to the stories of Kevin Lindsay, the original Sontaran, who had a heart condition, trying to go through all this stuff as well, and it's
and he didn't tell anyone because he wanted to work so much, but it's I think and then poor bloke. No, I think you've got to be sensible about these things, about sort of, but it's.
And people are a bit more aware of it all now as well.
And also the thing is, you've got a whole statement of health form that either you could falsify, and then when if anything did happen, then you wouldn't be insured. So
you're stuffed.
It's like the classic thing on our last day of term at drama school, we sort of got to go horse riding. So as an end of term treat, and then the lady also said like, now, none of you put on your CV that you are a qualified horse rider, because it's not true. You've had to go. And still see one or two of my classmates, horse riding. Right? So, you can get found out with that very easily.
Very quick.
Never say that you can ride a horse when you can't. Yeah.
Oh dear.
You mentioned just then, Dan, like the prosthetic masks from old films in the 70s and stuff, and I wondered if you had any favourite creatures from old Hollywood, or from any film really, but anything that you always liked the kind of style of, or like I always thought the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh yes, cool. Yeah. I think there's this Island Earth. That 1950s film, with those massive bonnets.
Massive. That's film.
And there's
big brains, isn't it?
Huge brains. Yeah. Just mega head.
Yes.
And then they've got quite a good sort of insectoid monster in that as well, haven't they?
They're a little bit Mars Attacks.
Yes.
A little bit of a homage to them, isn't it?
Yeah. What else? Oh gosh.
Oh, I love all those old films.
Because all those ones,
all the B movies, 50s and 60s.
Yeah, because they used to show them all the time on. Because when I was a kid, there was so much less content. Science fiction. So much science fiction films on BBC Two at 6 o'clock. That was absolutely sort of a staple of things.
Just pull something out.
So,
I remember there was one Christmas. It would have been late 80s when I'd finished school.
Yeah.
And they did like a season of sci-fi films in the lead up to Christmas.
Yeah.
And because my parents were working, my sister was still at school. I'd been, it might have been sixth form or something like that. Finish a little bit early. But either way, they every morning for 2 weeks they showed a load of old films. There's things like Gemini Man and you know, again, This Island Earth. I think that was the first time I watched it, and you know, loads of these things. And I'd seen some of them before, but there was a load that I hadn't seen. I thought, oh, that's fantastic. And they showed one of my favourites, which was they did like Silent Green and Silent Running.
Silent Running,
which is awesome. I've got it over there on a collection. It's just I was crying my eyes out, man. It's just sorry, slight detour there, but actually, just on that subject, I mean, are there any of those old movies or something that you particularly like? You got any favourites?
Oh gosh, God, this is like being told to remember a joke. It's kind of like I think it's the whole thing about.
Tell us a joke, Dan.
Don't ask him the next question, Paul.
It's so interesting because I think now that it's just a different attitude to sort of content, because all those things like. Alex Cox's Movie Drome or whatever. They used to show sort of cult films and that sort of thing. It was kind of curated because there was a limited selection of things. But I suppose all those things which I watched sort of growing up when I was a kid, like, and there was one which I only saw once called Phase 4, which is about ants. It's like ants becoming intelligent.
Yes.
That's quite nice because it's kind of like an elemental force, and also there's this sort of macro photography. There's these ants kind of like, sort of they're genuine ants, but they've sort of stuck things on them to make them. But I remember that being quite uncanny.
I think that's on Amazon Prime, Prime Video. I think
and there were lots of films as well
freaky.
that they sort of like for some reason they were on loads when I was quite small, and then they weren't on TV for about 20 or 30 odd years, and then they sort of came back again, like Logan's Run. I remember seeing Logan's Run endlessly when I was a kid, and then it wasn't on TV until I was about 25 again, and then it's like, it's Logan's Run. I remember this. It's just kind of So all those kind of slightly dystopian sort of 70s things which you sort of grow up with, and you're not aware about quite how sort of odd some of them are. I think. You don't quite get the point of them when you're a kid.
They were all kind of bleak until Star Wars came out, and then suddenly say, we got to ditch everything, we got to put in laser beams, we got to have a laser shootout.
Yes, that genre that Johnny Morris, the wonderful Big Finish and Doctor Who writer, describes as disco sci-fi. Kind of Buck Rogers in the 21st century.
It's great.
20th century.
Because then we get things like Buck Rogers in the 21st century, and even a bit of Battlestar Galactica and stuff like that, which is, when I was a kid growing up, I just wanted more and more of that kind of stuff. I just loved it. It was great. Anyway, enough of that wibbly wobbly. We do have one question here, which is also from our Facebook, and this is the one Jeff with his distorted voice said, do not ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So Stuff Ian Likes, who does send us quite a few questions actually, doesn't he?
Yes, he's
says, he goes, which Doctor Who monster would Strax find it most satisfying to shoot, do you think? I never knew he was so violent.
Okay.
Well, Ian or Strax?
Ian. It's kind of scaring me right now.
I mean, Ice Warriors are cool, so I'd like to zap an Ice Warrior. In terms of the classic monsters, the big four. But in terms of my mind, big four are so like Daleks, Cybermen, Sontarans, Ice Warriors. And then, of course, the Zygons have become quite popular as well. But they're great as well.
Yes.
But,
do you know what? There should be Strax fights. That's a series on YouTube.
Just short.
Strax down.
It's
WWF.
It's like Fight Club.
That's it. Just imagine it. A big, bold graphic going Strax out, Strax down, or something. Different ways of getting rid of various monsters from the annals of Doctor Who history.
A really uncanny one. The thing is, the actual the way in which they're realised in the original story isn't amazing. It is of its time. But the Tractators in Frontios, I remember finding them really uncanny. Like a woodlouse, but with a sort of human face. I mean, that's a really horrible combination, that kind of... And I remember the novel is quite graphic in terms of how...
Very graphic.
There's much more sort of body horror in it as well, but that's kind of...
Lots,
Because
they have that machine, don't they? Which they use to tunnel through, and they wire up body parts. It's grim. And on TV, again, at sort of 5 o'clock in the evening,
it's the ideas which make you go, whoa.
Exactly.
Sometimes that's the worst, isn't it, than seeing something.
Actually, I tell you, I love Frontios, honestly. If we ever get hold of Chris Bidmead, then I'm going to pin him down. And we're going to have a big discussion about that. Jeff can go off and get the bread and milk and stuff like that.
Also,
we'll bring you on for that, Dan. If we get hold of him, we'll bring you on so you can have a chat with him as well, and we can ask him about the Tractators.
But I love them. I love the Mara as well, because that was another thing where the Doctor's friends are possessed. And something as simple as having a red mouth and red eyes. There's something really that's really uncanny. And so again, because I was very young watching that, but that was the whole thing. That was just at the edge of what's frightening enough to be. It's the frightening, the exciting level of frightening. Not something where you're terrified.
Yeah,
it's frightening in a good way. So that's kind of
that's a good description for it, the exciting. I remember showing my son, he's 8, showing him something from Jodie's era a little while ago, and someone was turned to particles, and he went, they just shot him. But you could tell he was a bit like, it was sort of like exciting, scary,
it's bearable, Yeah, that's good.
Yes. Exactly, that's it, it's bearable, yeah. So Dan, we've got one or two questions, and we've got a little game that we'd like to
finish with the game.
Yes. So, what are you working on at the moment?
At the moment, well, inevitably there will be. I can't remember because the release schedule is very different from the recording schedule. But there will be big Finish stuff on the way. Actually, come October, there will be a new Paternoster Gang volume. It hasn't been. The story titles haven't been announced yet, but there is one that I've written in it. So
well done, fantastic! Look out for that.
I think I'm allowed to say that. But yeah, more victorious.
Well, you have now.
Yes. And also, again, I think because the press release came out today on the day of recording, in Ali Pali, I think it's on the 9th of September, I will be in Quatermass Live, which Toby Haydock is organising. It's got Mark Gatiss in it and Alice Lowe. At the moment, at the time of recording this announced cast, but it's kind of it's a reading of a rehearsed reading of the very first Quatermass serial, because it's the 70th anniversary today as we're recording. So it's kind of like it's all very exciting.
I'd seen someone on Twitter had mocked up. Do you remember Doctor Who Adventures magazine? They'd mocked up a Quatermass Adventures version. In the very. Did you see it in the same sort of style? Yeah. So last year I went to see Colin Baker in a stage performance of Hound of the Baskervilles, which was done sort of like I said to Paul, it was like a Big Finish live kind of thing. The girl had coconut things and the gravel stuff and that. So is your Quatermass going to be similar to that?
I don't know yet, because I know that it's based on the original shooting script, so I don't know quite how much what the technicalities of it will be. But that's it's at Alexandra Palace, which the original serial was broadcast from. That'll be very exciting. Yes.
Very exciting.
Very exciting. I'd love Quatermass. Have you ever seen that, Jeff? Sorry, mate. The old black and white from.
I haven't seen that one, but there was a remake, wasn't there? Not that long ago.
Quatermass in the Pit was on the iPlayer for a little while, which I think is the third Quatermass.
Yeah, it was.
Which is great. It's brilliant. Inspired so much Doctor Who as well. So Nigel Neal was quite mixed. I think some stories did take his concepts and ran with them, shall we generously say? But yes. Yeah,
it's. I mean, it's just got a really creepy atmosphere. You would love it, Jeff, because it's really spooky. Yeah. And I tell you what,
I love a bit of spooky Who.
The thing that got me actually was the end of it. The last two, definitely the last episode, but in the build up to that, when everything's all kind of freaking out around London, it's just suddenly it seems to just take on another level of weirdness.
Yeah, and it's extraordinary. It's so in the
50s.
Yeah, and just in a set, it's not quite going out live. That one isn't, but so like it's all just conviction. It's just kind of like black and white things.
Yeah,
it's got a great cast. It's got Julian Glover in it as well as a
fantastic
military man. But it's just done with conviction. It's like I remember on the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who, attending a screening of in public of the very first episode of An Unearthly Child, and sort of watching that. And the thing is, again, it's the technique of the character might be very basic, but it's just kind of like it's all done. Even with the cavemen, it's like they all really mean it.
Yes, you're right.
They're all taking it seriously, and that really sort of that sings through, even though sort of like the actual sort of
it sells it more, doesn't it?
It pulls you in as a viewer, doesn't it? Because you become engaged with it, because you feel it, because it's transmitting through. And I do wonder sometimes whether that's a thing that's been slightly diluted with so much stuff that is presented on screen. There's literally nothing now with a bit of CGI and a good budget that you cannot imagine and show. And it's great because it's all sense of wonder. I mean, you look at some of that stuff and you think, oh my goodness, it's amazing. But you are literally shown it, whereas I think sometimes with stuff where they don't have that, and this is I think one of the reasons why I'm into Doctor Who so much, because it's you feel it, you feel it in your bones, the terror that someone's reacting to or showing or something, and like you said, the conviction, it just gets you and it grips you and it pulls you into the story.
Yeah, definitely. I think it has, and also especially with those early sort of things, it has a debt to theatre. You know, it is that kind of thing. It's very contained, and it's a small screen. That's the point of it. It's intimate. It's in the corner of the living room.
Yeah,
and it's sort of like, and it's especially something like Quatermass. It's atmosphere, and it's sort of like it's very different. Yeah. I think it's its own thing. Yeah.
But it is good. We do like it. Yeah. I do.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Do you know, my uncle he's a big Doctor Who fan as well, and I remember him talking about Quatermass and saying, you know, I needed to check it out. So yeah, at some point I'll
do it, Jeff. Yes.
Dig it out somewhere.
You must. Stream it. You simply must, darling. Yes.
So before we go to our little game, which I'll let Paul explain in a moment, Dan, I just wondered if you'd been in Cardiff lately for anything.
I haven't. No. Even if I were, I couldn't say.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah. See, he does say you've got to watch out for him, Dan. He's a bit of a ninja when it comes to landing those sort of questions.
One day we'll catch someone off guard.
And on that day, my friend, we get sued. So just watch it. Okay, shall we play our little game to close out with then? Should we do this, right? You're going to love this, Dan, I'll tell you, mate. You're going to absolutely love it, right? Okay, this is the game which we play with quite most of our guests now, and it is called The Grand Serpent's Asteroid. So, I don't know if you recall, at the end of Doctor Who Flux, there was the Grand Serpent, the evil wrongdoer who'd been, sort of making his presence felt throughout various stories in a manipulative Machiavellian sort of way, was banished to an asteroid in lonely, silent space where there was nothing, not even a TV, just a door, and even that was taken away from him. So, sorry to say this, mate, we are going to banish you upon that very asteroid, but we're not so cruel as the Doctor. We will give you some things that you can take with your person. So, however, it's going to be a choice, and you've got to take one or t'other or something, right? So, here we go. The first thing you can take with this, actually, which is quite absolute, the first thing you are allowed to take is one science fiction movie. Now, what's it going to be?
Time Bandits. Yeah. I know that's
good. You see,
that's fancy, but yeah, that's
I was kind of hoping you'd give me time to drink my water.
Sorry, no, Time Bandits. That's
I just lifted my water up to him because I thought I need to drink the water, and he comes out.
People
with that,
normally take a moment to think. Yeah,
they do. Don't they go?
No, that would make me happy.
What can I do?
Yeah.
I love Time Bandits. Yeah. It's brilliant, isn't it? It's Okay, that's a good one. We can have Time Bandits. Okay, although this might banjax you slightly, you're also allowed one fantasy movie.
Oh, okay.
Oh
gosh, fantasy movie.
Unless you want to do Time Bandits as the fantasy movie, because it does kind of cross into that.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. I don't think I could spend eternity watching Hawk the Slayer, so I might.
And why not?
Commendable though it is.
Fine, struggling.
Yeah. Actually, okay, I'll take the fantasy as Time Bandits then. That's good. And what science fiction film? Oh god, if I'm stuck by myself, then sort of like.
See, now I can drink loads of water. I don't need it now.
Yeah. The thinking has begun.
For audio-only listeners,
yes. No, sorry, I'm
staring into space. He is cogitating rather deeply upon this very question.
Or I stick with Time Bandits as science fiction, and I take Jabberwocky as my fantasy film. So Terry Gilliam's.
You got a thing for Terry Gilliam then.
Although simply, if I'm in the unhappy situation of being in that kind of thing, then I want a comfort watch, and those are both two of my sort of happy place films that I've seen more than anything else.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And they're actually two of his happier sort of films, which is kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Brazil is great, but it's like I probably wouldn't watch that when
really
I'm
dark.
That's really going to bring the mood down on an asteroid on your own. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, especially when you get to the end and they're in that big cooling tower, and you think, oh no, I am in lonely space, surrounded by nothing but stars and nothing. Right, you also allowed.
Excalibur. Oh no, where would Excalibur come in? No. I've made my choice now. It's fine. Yeah.
I mean, you might as well go the whole hog and just have Zardoz. Why not?
There we go, yes. I won't quote things because this is a family podcast, so no.
Indeed it is, yes, and we don't do that sort of thing. So, yeah, now, my eyes did pop out of my head the first time I watched it. I thought, oh, this looks good, doesn't it?
Yes.
Can I watch it, Mum? And my mum was like, yeah, whatever, you step watch it. And I'm like, oh.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
Yes.
Anyways, moving on. You are also allowed one musical album of your choice. What's it going to be?
Oh, gosh. Okay. What musical album?
One album. Only one, mind. That's it. So it's got to be the one that you can literally listen to endlessly. We will even give you a system to play it on as well and some speakers. See, we are quite generous, really, aren't we?
Solar powered.
There's so many things which I enjoy listening to. But again, if they get me in the right mood, it's the kind of thing.
What mood would you need to be on if you're isolated on an asteroid in the lonely depth of endless space?
Something I can jump around to.
Probably not David Bowie.
No.
House of Pain.
Yeah. So like London Calling by The Clash, which is obviously a double album, and there's lots of tracks on there. That'd be nice to sort of jump around to.
Yeah, I was going to say that double album should be allowed here. Yeah. Get you around that.
I mean, some of my favourite ones, but yeah, the Raven by the Stranglers, but sort of like which is again sort of like a fun one. That's quite brief. Something jazzy that just be sort of like relax me somewhat.
Nice.
Jazz.
Yes.
Nice. Great.
So nice Sidney Bechet. Made me think about that. But I don't know. I'll say London Calling because I can't think of anything else at the moment. So yeah. And PJ Harvey I love, but so again it's probably sitting listening to PJ Harvey with myself on a desert island might not be sort of yeah. I'll say London Calling because it's got some things I can dance.
That's
to.
a good one. Okay,
Yes.
so just a couple more things we'll let you take. We'll also let you take one precious thing from your childhood. What should that be?
Precious thing from my childhood. My cat Esme.
Ah,
Esme cat.
was she your first cat?
Yes. Yeah, she was old. She was older than me, so yeah, she would keep me company. She was useless as a cat, but fantastic as a pet.
Yeah.
Esme cat. Yeah.
Bless Esme.
Yes.
What sort of cat was she then? Was she
big fat ginger,
black and white thing?
Yeah.
Big fat ginger.
Ginger cat with amber eyes. Yeah.
Oh, bless.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
Very, very placid.
Okay, and the last. Was she really?
Not a hunter. No.
No.
Yeah.
You bring it to me, darlings.
Yes.
I am not moving, frankly. Yeah. Okay, so the last thing you are allowed is one Doctor Who prop lifted from the set, or maybe which fell into your possession by unknown means.
And I'm also going to throw in you allowed one season of Doctor Who to take as well.
Oh, okay.
And that.
Right.
On whatever media you choose.
Or a prop that you just like the look of and you wish it had kind of fallen into your hands in some way.
Could be a neck collar,
I'd have to be boring and just go for
movement.
I think I'd just go for the TARDIS because that would make me sort of that would give you this the illusion of I can go anywhere, I can escape as a kind of thing, and it's just like.
But it would just be a box.
I know, but it's a symbol of hope, isn't it? It's that kind of. So that's nice. And season, well, I think. Oh, not to go.
See, this is one where you think, because I know what my favourite season is, and you think, but then there's this one, and then there's that, and that's got that in it, and
yeah, it's yes. I might go for season 14, so of the classic
season
series.
14,
possibly, or I might go for a.
I think that's a good one.
Yeah, I'll say that. That's just got a general sort of like yes. Although the one that I saw sort of like which hooked me was probably sort of like a season 19, Beast Davidson's first season. But so I know I'll go for season 14.
Yeah. Season 14.
Also, because I love Sylvester's like seasons, but obviously they're only 4 stories long, so you're not there's not as much chance to escape.
Yeah, you're doing yourself a disservice there.
You get
to
quite a bit
take one because it's short.
Yeah.
And
season 14
and if I get another film. Which isn't science fiction, then I'll go for The Third Man because that's my favourite film ever.
That's a good one. Yeah. Sadly, that's not allowed.
No, never mind. I'd think about it.
You can dream.
I can probably recite.
You can replay it in the back in the cinema of your mind.
And I can recite quite a lot of Blazing Saddles, so that's kind of a...
Oh, there you go, then.
So there we go. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yes.
That's it. There you go. So, yeah, okay, so that's interesting, actually. So, season 14, Pyramids of Mars, is it? Planet of Evil, that sort of thing? Brain and Morbius?
No, the one after that.
Is that season 14?
So it's...
The one after that.
It's the...
Yes. Is it on the collection?
Yes, it's on the collection.
Oh, yeah. It'll be Robots of
Death, Face of Evil.
Yes. Yes, 13 was Brain and Morbius and stuff, wasn't it? Because 12 was Tom Baker's first. Yeah. So I'm just a year behind.
Yes.
Like I said, it's getting late, Dan. Do you know what I mean? The old bladder ain't working quite as it used to.
Chariot
be,
Yes.
Oh, indeed. Yes. If I was a young man these days, there'd be no stopping me. I'll tell you, I'll be able to recite every single Doctor Who story that had ever been there.
Oh, yes.
Every single one, I'll tell you. It used to be the mate I'd get to sleep these days. Oh, God blimey. It isn't. Anyway, right, okay. It's time to wrap it up then, I think, gents. And we are going to be seen out by Field Marshal Eggsteak. Thank you, Dan Starkey, for joining us on this Who Corner to Corner. May you have a pleasant onward journey and not be nuked from orbit by any missiles that just happen to be falling down from our military exercises.
Sontar.
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 Dan Starkey, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute delight and pleasure. And wish you all the very best in your future projects and everything else that you're doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.